Funding for Curate, the Arizona Arts and Culture Fund, is made possible by Signal Society member Eleanor Light, and by you can become a curator of the arts on 8. For more information, call 602-496-8888.
And now, an 8 special presentation.
This time on Art Beat Nation. Recycled guitars make for beautiful instruments and music.
Took the cabinet wood and turned it into a guitar, and that's the only guitar I've played. I put all the other expensive ones away, and it's hard to beat.
Women filmmakers find empowerment through community.
I mean, over half of the population is women. We want to hear our stories told.
Looking for hope and inspiration in the clouds.
You know, I could not avoid, seeing, and being influenced by the sky in New Mexico. It's so beautiful.
And a stunning haven for new artists and collectors alike.
I'm excited that Emerge exists as a venue for artists just to come in of any talent and be able to present their work publicly.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Beat Nation. Funding for Art Beat Nation is made possible by donations to Curate, the Arizona PBS Arts and Culture Fund, and by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you. In our first segment, we meet a creative and ecologically conscious craftsman who is building guitars from recycled wood. But these aren't just any guitars. They're works of art in their own right.
I've only been playing instruments about maybe 7 years, and my son Lou has always been musically inclined, and it kind of got me going on the bass. I guess I always just kind of wanted to make a guitar for some reason, and we had a party where one got broken, and so I started seeing kind of how they were made. You get so much into them when you're making them, because it takes me like a month or so probably, because I do it after work from roofing. It really just comes down to looking at a guitar and, making it work and being able to use tools. We use very basic tools, a planer, a table saw, and jigsaw, and it's just, I think most any carpenter could do it if he put his mind to it. I've done basically everything on them. I make the necks and the fretboards, and some of those guitars with the portraits in them, there's like close to 400 pieces of wood.
When he made my first guitar, it was made out of my grandfather's cabinets. After he passed away, we remodeled the house for my grandma, took the cabinet wood and turned it into a guitar. And that's the only guitar I've played. I put all the other expensive ones away, and it's hard to beat. Playing music in general, you have to get into it. You feel it inside, and when you're playing something that means a lot, it's easier to let it out through the instrument. Everybody who gets a guitar knows where the wood came from, a story of it. And I think that's a big selling point too, is when you get something that's not shipped over from China, it's local, it's got history, it's a little easier to fall in love with.
It's got like a history to it. For example, there's guitars here that are made, we worked out in Casadega in our roofing business, and we put a roof on the bookstore out there. So I got a bunch of wood from the roof of that, and I thought, when we tore the old 100-year-old boards off of the roof, you could smell the incense coming from, you could even smell it in the guitar for the longest time, just from passing through. And that's what it's about.
I started playing guitar when I was around 14 when my Uncle Joe gave me one of his acoustics. Part of the guitar came from my grandfather's old house and from wood around here, and so that just made it all the more special to us.
We make them with all wood that's either we get off of the job sites or we pick up tables and stuff off the side of the road and stuff, because it's not about the money, it's just about the recycled wood. You really get into it when you're making it, but by the time you're just about done, you're thinking about the next one and what it could be.
Up next, we take a look at a film festival showcasing the voices and perspectives of women, both as subjects and storytellers. Those involved discuss the sense of community and empowerment this platform has created for participants.
Stories go back so far to our very roots, and that's how we pass down our culture, that's how we pass down our history, that's how we learn about ourselves and what's happening in our world. I think that film, movies, to me, are the most impactful way of passing on those stories.
Film can influence the way we see the world. Film can influence the way you and I interact. Film can bring about change. I pitched the idea of the festival 5 years ago to the Denver Film Society. When I was watching films to program for the festival, there was a documentary about a woman who brought 12 of her family members over from the Congo during the genocide. And she wanted to go back and start reconciling with her country. So there was a line in the documentary where she said, "If we don't speak up, nobody will know we are here." And the light bulb went off in my head and said, oh my gosh, that's the name of the festival, is Voices, because part of the mission of the festival is to bring stories of women from around the world to the public and to our viewers.
It's so important to have a woman's voice in the storytelling and the world. I mean, over half of the population is women. We want to hear our stories told. And we see the lack of women in the stories because most of the stories are written by men. So I think we're seeing a lack of women's touch in film.
That's not what this documentary is about anymore.
This documentary is you finding truth.
We started filming Bernie, and that's when we realized the depth of what she was going through.
What is the worst fear you have?
It's kind of like all the pieces of my life are coming together in this one big day.
Why am I doing this? When you look at women between the 1920s to mid-60s, they say there were really only 2 women in Hollywood that made movies. With the big studios from 2009 to 2013, 466 movies were made, and only 22 were made by women. That's 4.7%. And it's a little bit better in the independent movies. There's about 17% are made by women, and in documentaries about 35%. Now it goes up and down over the years, but really it hasn't changed a whole lot.
Camera women, it's 2%. Directors, it's at 7 or 8%. And only, I think, 3 or 4 women have ever been nominated for Best Director. So I'm really excited to be back here at the Women Plus film screening series. I really love that they empower women and encourage female filmmakers.
Anything that we do that improves their self-image and their confidence, not to be seen as objects, not to be manipulated, to trust their heart, to trust their instincts, and to be ambitious, I think it's all to the good, not just for the girls, but for all of society, because you improve the woman, you improve the family, you improve the next generation.
The festival is such a wonderful way to create community around film. So many people come together, and we'll do introductions of the film and show the films, but we'll always have somebody there with a film to discuss it afterwards.
Meeting the actual filmmakers, talking to them. How did you come up with this idea? What are you going to do next? What were your challenges? Is there any way I can help? It's just invaluable.
I love doing the Q&As at the end of the film and engaging with your audience, so you have an impact. You see that excitement right after they walk out of the theater. There's just like, if they really liked the film, there's just a spark. And to capture that and have a dialogue and to have that engagement with your audience is so important to me as a filmmaker. Because you made it for them and to inspire them and to encourage them to act.
Whenever it comes to showing films, one of the biggest things to look for is, are we entertained? And by that doesn't mean necessarily that it's fun.
She told me that she's gonna be there for a little while, but she told me that to don't be sad because she's always there.
Even if it's a hard topic that we might be showing, I just can't say enough about how many people have come up to me after a film and said, "Oh my God, I didn't know." So I'm always surprised at how many people we are actually educating by showing our films. Why I love film festivals so much is the ability to connect an audience with a story. And I don't think there's any other medium that does that.
There's just an energy about it and an empowerment that comes from that, and encouraging the other, future filmmakers.
Film can do that. It certainly has helped me, and I think it helps a lot of other people as well.
Films can create empathy, they can promote understanding, and they can even create social change.
In his latest book, photographer A.J. Meek captures clouds on film and then pairs them with the poetry of children. Meek's delightful compilation is sure to entertain and inspire.
Charlie Brown and Linus were lying on their back looking up at the sky, looking at the clouds, and Linus says, I think I see Beethoven writing his Fifth Symphony, and Charlie Brown says, all I see is a horsey.
The sky is an ever-changing abstraction in A.J. Meek's latest book, where photographs of clouds are paired with the observations of children.
The idea of this book on clouds, it was a little intimidating at first because, every artist, photographer that's been trained knows about the work that Stieglitz did. Any other artist that photographs a similar subject matter is, has a certain trepidation of fear associated with photographing the sky.
His inspiration for the book came while he was in New Mexico.
I had retired from LSU in School of Art and Photography in 2005, and I was teaching in the honors program at the University of New Mexico, and it was a real great time. We had a great time, but I could not avoid, seeing, and being influenced by the sky in New Mexico. It's so beautiful with those cobalt blue skies and this really, really intense light. I was inspired by that sky, and I started making photographs. When I got back to Louisiana, I continued the project. What I wanted to do is I wanted to include the perceptions of hope by children, and those were done by family and friends. I asked them first, of course, and I didn't want to include the pictures for the children to see to illustrate, so I gave them key words such as angels, donuts, whatever, some things like that, and then they responded to that.
A donut tastes like sugar made from happiness.
I was also helped out a lot by the Runnels School here in Baton Rouge, and the English professors gave an assignment to their students.
Windy clouds, cotton balls on a string, pulled by time, pushed by wind, float overhead, held in the sky by the push of wind. This work was inspired by the Native American concept of a sacred space. It's a place that they go to, they can commune with nature, and they can't really hold any kind of negative thought while they're observing a sacred mountain or a sacred place. The same was true for me with the title, The Healing Presence, as a concept that I wanted to put forth is when you look at these photographs, you can't hold a negative thought. And then when you read the children's perceptions, you get more information.
And that was based on that idea.
The illuminating presence of the sky is what helps us stay alive. Up above is where they float, the sky, the sea, the clouds, a boat. Meek has authored 6 books of photography. His penchant for landscapes has been a recurring theme in his work.
Yeah, I've always considered myself a documentary photographer, you know, with an artistic bent. What that means exactly is that, you know, I'm really concerned with what is before the camera, using the camera to record, you know, things in front of the camera. And that's kind of documentary. It's kind of artistic if you use the light properly. And so those are the kind of things that I've really found myself interested in.
Angels have halos, wings, white dresses, and yellow shoes.
Some people ask me, do I miss the old analog photography, the old darkrooms? And you know, seriously speaking, I mean, I'm really grateful for getting out of that. I really like darkroom work, but I really am grateful for, you know, the advancements of technology, because digital photography is less polluting than the old way. A photographer, you know, uses heavy metals and very polluting darkroom chemicals, and the old way, you know, even though it's quite beautiful, I'm grateful that, you know, I no longer work in the darkroom. Those were really pretty rough days.
If I were a cloud, I'd soar above the world with all the freedom I could imagine, just waiting for the wind to take me somewhere new.
Especially after my retirement from LSU, I wanted to use my work, my talent, you know, as a kind of a ministry. I mean, in a way, you know, because you know, it's something I couldn't do or didn't feel like I really could do, you know, as an academic teacher or photographer. And so now that I've retired, I feel like I can really open up a little bit more and show some of the spiritual side of my nature and some of the spiritualness of the work that I'm trying to do.
Heaven is above the clouds, and there's houses and buildings there, and our kitties.
For more, visit ajmeek.com. The 4th annual Emerge Art Fair recently took place at the iconic Capitol Skyline Hotel in the nation's capital. Emerge celebrates the energy of art with an immersive atmosphere featuring more than 50 artists from around the world. Here's a look.
I'm Jamie Smith. I'm founding director of Emerge Art Fair. This is our 4th year for the fair in Washington, D.C. We have 85 exhibitors coming from 32 different countries. We're very excited to welcome everyone here to the Capitol Skyline Hotel. There's amazing depth of work on view here, including painting, sculpture, performance, conceptual art, video, everything you can imagine.
My name is Sheldon Scott, and I live in Columbia Heights in Washington, D.C. And this is my 4th year here at Emerge, my 3rd time exhibiting. I think Emerge has been essential to my artistic career. When I came here the first year, I came just as a sponsor. So I actually was inspired by seeing people present their work to the public for the first time.
This is our 4th year at the Capitol Skyline Hotel. Since its launch, Emerge has been here. We love the architecture of the hotel. It offers a wonderful social space with a pool deck, lounge, many different areas. The atmosphere of the fair is very relaxed. It's very casual. Everyone can explore at their own pace. One of the meanings of the name Emerge is emerging collectors as well as emerging artists. So we encourage everyone to come have fun and find something that appeals to them here, whether they're a seasoned collector or they're looking for their first art acquisition. There are a lot of educational opportunities. We have panel discussions. All of the exhibitors are experts, very knowledgeable. So it's just a very welcoming, friendly environment. We try to make an opportunity for artists to connect with their public, including collectors and curators, as well as gallerists. Many new relationships form at the fair. Some unrepresented artists find gallery representation through their experience at Emerge.
So this is a body of work called Folklore that I just produced over the last year. And it's an exploration of the myth and legend of American Blackness through story, song, and riddle. So I have the riddle, Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, the story, John Henry, Steel Driving Man, which actually informs my performances and portraits that you see here.
My name is Avner Sher. I'm an Israeli artist, and this is my first time in DC. My work is an expression of hope in face of chaos. It's a universal wish to collect pieces from a chaotic situation and then to build a new world. And that is actually what I'm doing. First, destruction, and after that, construction. I combine them, and then suddenly it becomes strange faces, sometimes childish, sometimes something that I could never imagine that it will be the result. Well, I hope that anyone that sees my work will wonder, could it be that all those faces, all those shapes erased from a totally chaos? Well, yes, that's something that we all hope, that we started with nothing, with a chaos situation, but at least we build a new life.
When visitors come to the fair, we want them to have an enjoyable experience, whether they're coming as seasoned collectors or curious visitors who do not frequent art fairs. We want them to enjoy the relaxed atmosphere and the energy that's here. We also want them to take away a sense of how important art is in our lives.
I'm excited that Emerge exists as a venue for artists just to come in of any talent and be able to present their work publicly. I think that's a rare format, and you know, it's exciting to have that here in Washington, D.C.
For more information, visit emergeartfair.com. For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find feature videos and information on the Arizona art scene. Funding for Artbeat Nation is made possible by donations to Curate, the Arizona PBS Arts and Culture Fund, and by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you.
Funding for Curate, the Arizona Arts and Culture Fund, is made possible by Signal Society member Eleanor Light, and by you can become a curator of the arts on 8. For more information, call 602-496-8888.